Driving me crazy just looking at it. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. It's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. It's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. You do this thing when you're biting your lip.
Right, good afternoon, people. Hope everyone's good. Hope everyone's had a good day. I didn't get to watch the game earlier with Newcastle, but I do heard that Maddison has busted himself again. So, well, not so much on that one. Basically, to cut a long story short on this one, was up, I'd say, on holiday in Blackpool, but weren't exactly what I call a good holiday. But either way, we was there. My wife come up and pointed something out to me that she'd seen from a family close by from us, close to where we live, and showed the situation and everything else. And I think, as people know me on here, I'm not an emotional person. But I looked at her, do you know what? It's another little Spurs fella there, yeah? I know a lot of people got issues in their lives. A lot of people got problems. A lot of people got all different types of problems. But this is where I feel a lot of us take a few things for granted as well. I just looked at it, I thought, do you know what? That's another little Spurs fan. Maybe, just a maybe, we can help this fella out. And that's just the way I saw it. So in the long run, this is going to be having a chat with Harley's mum, Kelly, lovely lady, already met them today. And also his father, Ben, if I remember the name correctly. If I'm wrong, I'm sure Kelly will tell me. And also met Harley today and the rest of his family. Lovely family. I'll tell you, they got a great yard there as well. Really nice. Bit jealous of that one, if I'm going to be honest. And yeah, and it's basically taking it from there. So I'm going to say hello to a couple of people just before I bring Harley's mum on. And Lily White, Robbie, big up to you all. Share the link and like. Thanks a lot, mate. Yep, hope you're doing well, good as well, fella. And Tom as well. Big up, Dan and everyone. Big up for doing this. That's appreciated, mate. I'm not doing this for me or anyone else. Doing this for Harley, another little Spurs fan who needs a bit of help off of us lot. And Corey boy, big up Dan the man. Big up to you too, fella. TTI Diet, afternoon Dan, afternoon to you. Lynn Simpson, afternoon Harley, and brave Spurs fan, and his brave mum. And of course, Dan, big up to you. Hope your day's going good. Tottenham scout. I don't know Dan, but can tell he's a top guy. You're one of the first to ever say that. Much appreciated, mate. I mean, if I'm going to be honest, I can be a bit of a... I won't go into that one. That's for another show. And Jeff, big up Dan, pure gent. Thank you, mate. Big up to you. And Lynn as well. Always good to see you on here. Any parent would want to help this little guy, Harley. Yes, they would. And we are Spurs TV. Big up, mate. Right. So from there, got my drink and that. I'm going to bring on Harley's mum with us, Kelly. And here we are. Kelly, how we doing?
Oh yeah, not bad, thank you. Other than the technical difficulties today.
Oh, it always is. In that, do you know what? In that aspect, he's lucky you only live 12 minutes up the road, because we was able to sort it out at the end of the day. It was able to sort it out at the end of the day. So, I mean, the question is really, where do we start on this one, basically? I mean, because I'm sure there's a lot of questions out there and there's a lot of points you want to bring across as well. So we're in no rush for nothing. We just go with the flow with this, I think, in that aspect. And, I mean, Harley's birthday's coming up soon, isn't it? 10th of August. And you've got an event for that as well, haven't you? So tell us about this event, and then we can go into the detail from day one, learn about Harley and everything else and that. But I think let's talk about the event first that's coming up, his birthday. How old's he going to be?
So it's his birthday actually on the day next Sunday, the 10th of August. He's going to be 15. And I basically just had a little idea pop up in my ADHD brain. Wouldn't it be brilliant if I could do like a little fun day for him and some pictures? A lot of people have reached out and asked to like meet him and stuff and asked about him. And unfortunately, he doesn't have any friends due to being put in an SEN school. But I thought, just an idea, put it out there, and it blew up. It has gone bonkers. The support and the people in the community that have helped us, it has gone crazy. It is huge. Nothing I could have even imagined. It's definitely going to be a birthday he never forgets. But yeah, the community has really come together on this one, and it's going to be a birthday that no one ever forgets, to be fair. And at the same time, you know, people get to meet him and see what's an inspirational little boy he is, and how just resilient he is and gets on with stuff. So, and he is absolutely buzzing. I've told him about it and showed him a few things that are going to be there. But it has turned into something very special. I'm not sure I quite believe it until I see it. I'm one of these visual people. So yeah, it's just gone crazy, absolutely bonkers.
I can imagine. I mean, it is mad sometimes how something can all of a sudden, I won't say it just all of a sudden goes bang and everything's there. Sometimes you do just have to take a step back to actually have a look at it to believe it. I mean, you sound very similar to me. I mean, this is why I'm not a religious person. I have to see things to believe things. You know, it's just the way I work, and I'm sure we all work our own way in that. So with this event coming up for his birthday, which I bet he's looking forward to as well, what's the whole idea of the plan, basically?
Well, obviously we'll get to the end part of obviously how he got to how he is today.
Yeah.
But we need to basically raise funds to save his life. That, and he doesn't get to experience much. As I said, he got put in an SEN school because of his physical disabilities. Mainstream wouldn't take him. And a lot of his friends that he has friends there, but they can't talk to him. He loves to hold a conversation, a bit of banter, football banter. He gets on more with his younger brother, who's 13, is like 18 months between them. He gets on better with his friends than what he does. He's a very vocal child, the kindest way I can put it, even though he loves his SEN friends at his school. So I thought, I'd started putting bits on social media because I thought if I don't try, I'm forever be kicking myself, like saying, you should have tried this, you should have tried that. So I started posting online. The idea came to my head and I just ran with it. And so has everybody else. But yeah, it's bonkers. I can't express like the amount of people. I can't even thank them all. There's so many. And I've also forgot what your question was. Sorry. That was about the fun day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. It's all right.
But
it's
yeah, nothing. Nothing to worry about that. The more detailed, the better. Just say what you need to say.
So basically, I put on Facebook just as an idea on a few groups. I'd love to, if possible, hold like a charity day to try and raise some funds for Harley and for him to just have a great day and meet some people. And it literally blew up. And every day since, like even today, like every single day, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We was offered so many venues, but due to the sheer size of people wanting to help, we had to go with the biggest one, which is Bexley Park Sports and Social Club.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, they've kindly donated. Well, it's half of the field because unfortunately they still got games on that day, but it's still massive. And the AstroTurf and the hall. And then like Bouncy Castle, people got involved. One in particular, I'm not going to mention because he keeps telling me off for thanking him. So I'm not going to mention who it is. One Bouncy Castle company got involved, then another one, another one. So there's 4 Bouncy Castle companies involved, providing 12 inflatables for the day, all for free. They wasn't at first going to man them. They was just giving us the castles for the day to earn what we could off them to go to Harley. But due to the sheer size this is extending to, they're going to have to stay. Well, they've kindly offered to stay and man the castles for us. And for the whole day, the castles, all the inflatables will be £10 wristband from 12 till 5 for the children, which, having children myself, it's a very cheap day out. And there is a lot there for them to do. But as I said, obviously every day was just growing bigger and bigger. And then I thought to myself, because I love doing crafts and bits like that, and I'm always looking at little stalls and stuff. And I was like, well, why don't we incorporate that as well? Because the way I look at it, if I can help other people, then I will. I've always been that kind of person. I want to help others. And also if they're helping me, like, sharing his story, sharing his fun day. So we've got stall holders there. We've got ice cream van, candy van, waffle van with pancakes, burger van, Ready Players Go, which is a local gaming bus that we've hired out for several times. It's massive.
This is the day here, yeah?
Yeah, this is it, yeah. I can't even think of like loads, tons of stalls with all different bits on it. A DJ's come in.
Cool.
It's turned into something, and then like where we get our balloons from, high flying balloons of donating balloons, and another lovely lady's reached out. She's doing a massive backdrop where everyone can take pictures. There's going to be a professional photographer doing photos and videos. Then he was actually in the news shop the week before last. It was the front page, which was a shock to us, like a good shock. Like we knew his story had been put out there, but we didn't know it was going in the news shop, let alone front page. The news shop are also going to be covering this again. It's just gone from strength to strength, and it's been so overwhelming. There's been days I've been like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? But then I'm like, it's for Harley. Like, he deserves this. I didn't expect it to go here, but I'm thankful at the same time. You know what I mean? It's just overwhelming with everything we've got going on as well. At the same time, obviously, he's still quite poorly and he requires a lot of help with, like, the minute he's sitting there on oxygen, he's on a ventilator, and he's also having his extension built in the back of the house at the minute. So I definitely took a bit extra on. And my husband keeps going to me, "What did you do?" But he's also overwhelmed with it all. But it will be worth it in the end. And also by speaking to the people involved, like, this is nothing on what people want to help do more, because he needs it literally over 120k. And I'm not delusional. It would be a miracle to get there, but unless I try, the miracle ain't going to happen. And obviously, most of us are parents, and we would all do anything to save our children, and that's exactly what I'll do. I won't stop until I've ruled out everything that I can do to save him. But that's brilliant.
No, I can totally understand that. I just want to say sorry, Safcon pressed the wrong button, mate. It's only 10 minutes. I was doing something on the other screen, trying to concentrate on 3 other things. Don't help here. So I do apologise, fella. I didn't mean to block you out there, but it's only 10 minutes. I mean, it's just me. I'm a bit heavy on the button sometimes. And when it comes to donating and everything, this isn't for the charity event. What we're going to be doing is, I'd say in about 3-4 weeks' time, Sav has agreed to help on this. We all know that when it comes to the charity one, Sav is the one that knows what he's doing with it. I just personally cannot handle a 24 show. I mean, with my own medical issues, it would absolutely destroy me. I mean, he even does it. I will never know. But I personally think the way we're going to do this is 2 separate shows over 2 weekends of 12 hours apiece. And then I think you'll still have 2 healthy people sitting there. Because these 12-hour shows, Kelly, that's one thing I tell you, a 24-hour show really does take it out of you. I mean, it definitely takes the energy out of you. But we'll do 2 shows over about 12 hours a piece, and that's when you'll be able to. You've already got your own. What's it called for it? Donation.
GoFundMe. Yeah.
Yeah, you've already got your own one for it. Yeah. So what we will do in those shows, instead of basically just making a new one, we'll just put your one on there, and people can just donate to that one. Basically, that'd be the easiest way, I think, to do it, wouldn't it? Right. So that's definitely a big event coming up, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I bet he's looking forward to that as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's buzzing. He is. I just can't wait. I want to have it all set up, and then the photographer capture his face, capture his face as soon as he walks in and just sees it all. His face is going to light up and just make it all so worth it. And he really does deserve it, honestly. If anyone does, it's Harley. Such a trooper, honestly. And I'm so excited just to see his little face.
I mean, with like some of the things that you spoke about, I mean, we can go to this from the start, but I mean, I must admit, I've got a couple of questions myself. I mean, this must be, I don't even like bringing up these pictures, but we're just showing people how it is, basically. You mentioned earlier that he needs the oxygen issues and that. Where does that part actually come from as such?
Him being this poorly has come on very suddenly. So for years I'd been raising my concerns and, in my opinion, been ignored. But it took getting a second opinion, which me and Dad requested, to find out what we kind of knew at the bottom of, everything. We knew he was poorly, but in our opinion, we kept being told that I was kind of delusional, with results that we were told weren't there, that were there the whole time. He'd always do these breathing tests at Great Ormond Street. However, was told there was no readings. And it got to 2024. He is a shell of the child he used to be, because you would not know he was disabled. You still probably wouldn't, looking at him, unless you see his back and or use oxygen or whatever. But it got to the point of, this ain't right. My son is very poorly. He can't do anything anymore. He's a shell of a child that he would be. Something's not right. So I asked for a second opinion, and that was at the Evelina. And that's when everything our whole world turned upside down. Because we'd always been told he could have rods put in his spine. And that was literally taken away from us in a blink of an eye. He's actually really poorly. He's got 25% lung function. Basically, right. Do you want to start with events that come on?
It's no problem. I mean, I think the best way to do this is, I mean, I've just asked a part that just interested me. There's whatever. Yeah, how about we just go from the very start, from day one? Yeah, and then I think that's just going to be easier for you to go through everything. I mean, and half the problems, I'm not even going to attempt to say them because I bite my tongue off in the process. I struggle with words, basically. So if we go from day one, from birth, basically, just give us the full story with him, the full story.
So Harley was mine and his dad's first child. Normal pregnancy, no issues, no complications, other than when it comes to about 38 weeks, they noticed that he was breech. So they tried, and I think it's called an ECV or EVC, where they give an injection and turn baby ways in you, safer. But they couldn't do it. There wasn't enough fluid around him. So I had to have a C-section. And that went fine, other than I was quite poorly. That was nothing to do with him. And as I look back on it now, like the signs were there straight away. Like he was born and his legs were in the air, like permanently in the air. And we was like, what's that? They're like, he was breech, he'll be fine, they go down. It was always very hard to settle. Like I always felt like I was doing something wrong, because obviously I'd never done this before. Would cry a lot unless he was holding him to comfort him. He's just started missing all his milestones, like starting from sitting up, the way he'd play with toys. He would just sort of hover over them and not interact with them. Speech, every milestone was delayed. And just, he went further and further backwards. But in our opinion, every time that we raised these concerns with the doctors and help, like the not paediatricians, what they're called, a midwife, sorry, we were sort of overlooked until it got to about 10 months. There was no, I think it was actually the healthcare, midwife, come round and noticed there was a discrepancy in his leg length. So he was referred to paediatrics. However, there's like, oh, it's fine, there's nothing to worry about, discharged. And then about this time, I was pregnant. I then got pregnant with our second son. However, when Harley was then about, I want to say, between 1 and 1.5, there was just too many things. One in particular, I used to rub his back to go to sleep, and I was rubbing it. I thought to myself, that don't feel right. That's not like straight. That's not. It feels lumpy. So of course I had a little research on the internet, and it came up with something called scoliosis. And I was like, wow, I think this is a thing. So I went back through the doctors and I said, listen, I think my son's got scoliosis. I want to be referred to a paediatrician.
I've heard of that one before as well.
Yeah. So I actually see the same paediatrician. She was lovely. Her name's Dr. Schuler. And she listened to my concerns, because there was other things that were going on, to say, of his health, but I can't list every single one. There's so many of them. But she said, what's your main concern? I said, well, I think he's got scoliosis. She asked why, and I'd explained, rub his back. It's not straight. She said, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the x-ray here and now. I want you to wait in the waiting room, and I'll call you when it's done. And she called me in with tears in her eyes, and she said, I've never had a parent diagnose their own child like that before. And from that day, I never let anyone doubt me again. And she was my favourite doctor ever, until she sadly passed away a few years ago. But she got sort of the ball rolling on the help for Harley, and then got him referred to Great Ormond Street for spine. And that's where his journey on his spine sort of started. He's either when he was 4, was diagnosed with scoliosis, which is the S-curve, lordosis, which goes inwards, kyphosis, which goes outwards, and he also had fused vertebrae, which you can see in that picture in the middle. They're very fused, like walnut short. They're not. You have got no separate ones; they're all fused. So they'd always monitored Harley, and we'd always been told, he would need spinal surgery, but for now, it's a small curve. He started off with 39-degree curve, and we don't want to touch it. So he'd been monitored every 6 months with x-rays. And then we also, at the same sort of time, they referred then, I can't remember if it's a paediatrician, I think it was, to genetics, which was in Guy's Hospital. We see Dr. Holder there. And straight away, she said, I think he might have this condition. I was like, okay. She said, what we need is, what they do is really cool. They put in the database all the sort of symptoms and stuff, and it comes up with what it could be. It's really cool. And this is like 10 years ago. She said, I think it could be this condition called spondylocarpotarsal synostosis, which is a mouthful. But she said, what I need to do is I need to send both parents and Harley's DNA. And it had to be sent off to New Zealand, which is really cool, to see Professor Robertson. I think I've got that right. Stephen Robertson, I have got it right, who specialised in this. It took, I would say, 6 to 9 months to get the results back. And it indeed confirmed that he had this very rare condition. At the time, there was 1 in 25 people in the world diagnosed with spondylocarpotarsal synostosis, which involved the scoliosis, lordosis, kyphosis, fused vertebrae in his back. He had severe hearing issues. He still has, they're worse now. Sight impaired, so he wears very strong glasses. He can't see without them. He's got fused carpal bones in his wrist, fused tarsal bones in his feet. Very short in stature. There's global developmental delay. That's just to list like a few. I can't think of the rest of them. But we was very grateful we got this diagnosis. And so he was constantly monitored under the hospitals. He was under so many hospitals, but the annoying thing is they never sort of communicated. Harley, he's sitting there. Sorry, I can't concentrate. He's sitting there singing away on his little hearing aids.
Does he want to jump on and say hello quickly? Come and say hello to everybody.
Come say hello. Come, babes. Come on, just come say hello. Come here. You can sit and run me. No, you can't see anyone. It's just Dan. I'll turn it around. You just say hello. Just a wave. Say hi, everyone.
You're off, fella. How we doing? So you got your PlayStation working earlier, wasn't it?
Yeah. He's just sitting there singing away because it's really cool. His phone plays for his hearing aid, so he's sitting there not realising he's singing away. But yeah, bless him. He
likes his FIFA, doesn't he?
You like FIFA, don't you, babe? Is that your favourite one, or is it Fortnite?
I'm not playing FIFA. No.
FIFA with Daddy, same as Daddy, aren't you?
I can't play it.
No, you can't play it at the minute because our internet is not very great on this laptop, should I say? So we've had to pause PlayStation, but yeah. So as I say, he was monitored under several specialist paediatricians, ENT, ophthalmology, but mainly spinal. And as I say, in our opinion, we was always told he would eventually need surgery. And again, in my opinion, we kept raising concerns. All of his reports state this: mum's concerns this, mum concerns this, in every single report. However, we was dismissed, in our opinion, and told, he's not that bad. Fast forward to 2017, we was told that his lordosis, so the one that goes inwards towards the spine, was quite bad, and if we left it, it would crush his organs and be fatal. And that he needed an urgent surgery called an anterior spinal fusion. So you've got one of the pictures you've already showed, with a scar here. They went in through this side. They actually had to collapse his lungs. We actually thought they was going through the back. We never realised it was through the side, and they collapsed both his lungs and basically used his own rib bone to fuse the front bit of his spine. Obviously, we didn't know much about this. We took their advice. They're supposed to be a top leading hospital in, the world, let alone in England. So he had that. That's him after the operation as well there. He had the surgery and he did so well. Unfortunately, his lungs collapsed after that as well, but thankfully they got better. So yeah, he was in hospital for a week with that, which was hard on our family because I was also just found out we were pregnant with our third child. So, but imagine. In true Harley style, he did fine. Come home, and I want to say straight away, I noticed issues like behavioural issues, like he got very violent with his brother, would bite, smack, started sort of breaking things. And again, in my opinion, I kept saying the concerns to the consultants, and it's like, he's fine. Nothing to worry about. We're monitoring his spine, don't be concerned. And then fast forward to around 2020, during about lockdown time, I want to say, I'll never forget, it was sitting in the garden and we had trampoline. We still got the trampoline. And he got off it and he was really like, and I was like, Harley, what's going on? And he said, Mum, my chest hurt. So obviously it was lockdown. I didn't want to rush him to A&E because, he was breathing, and I did manage to calm him down after with a drink, a fan. I contacted his paediatrician and spinal straight away and raised these concerns. And the paediatrician brought him in and listened to his chest and that. And she said, there's something spinal need to look at. And from then, it's discussed he see respiratory at Great Ormond Street every 6 months. Which he had until 2024, which we'll get to that. And in my opinion, every 6 months we was told he did these proper breathing tests. So there's really quite invasive. You've showed one of the pictures, I'm pretty sure. I see it. Spirometries, he has to breathe in them. And some of them are quite fun tests, and he fully participated in them. However, they told us every time there was no reading. And then we get to about 2022, and I continued raising concerns that my son is very poorly. And where he didn't vocalise at a school that he was at, which I won't name, and to the doctors, they actually got social services involved and said I was emphasising his condition because, bearing in mind, I have nothing on paper at the minute to say that his lungs are bad. we had to go through like loops and hurdles just to keep our son at this point, because they said I was, you know, emphasising his condition. So we did what they said. I was under the system for like 4 months. Then they took him off. And then we got to 2024 and he got that bad. I said in the January, I had to put a complaint into PALS with respiratory, because I said, I don't know how you're not getting a reading of my son's lungs. He's very poorly. And if you can't get the readings by this, you know, because obviously there's children that got disabilities that are not verbal, like cerebral palsy, for instance, that comes with breathing difficulties. How do they know them children have got them? Well, they do CT scans and stuff, you know, to see the capacity and stuff. So I said, something needs to be done. I'm not happy. So after
You know
putting
what,
this
Kelly?
complaint,
Sorry to just interrupt you a second. It's just a lot of people do seem to have this attitude. I find, like, I mean, if you can't see it, there's not a problem. I do find there's a lot of people out there that just do seem to have that attitude. Oh, well, they look fine, or they talk fine, or when I say they, I just mean anyone in general, yeah? Well, I can't see it, so there's not a problem. And I do find that is a massive issue that I must admit, that is one thing that truly does bug me. Just because you can't see something, oh, there isn't a problem. And
it's like you and me, we've discussed with each other, we've got our own disabilities. We look fine. It's not every disability is visible, even though obviously Harley's was on paper like his main condition. But in my opinion, it was due to them neglecting and not doing the test fully. Well, we'll come to find out. But yeah, I do still find that now, like with my autistic son, he's really good at school, but that's masking. Like a lot of SEN children do mask because they're not comfortable at school, and yet they are at home. And Harley's always been like that, and he really is a trooper. Like he'll just get on with things and not, you know, you have to look out for yourself for the signs. Like even at home now, like he'll tell me I'm his mum. It's like I was just sitting there a minute ago. I said, "Are you okay?" He said, "My chest hurts, so I know he needs oxygen." So it's looking out for these symptoms. Just because he is a vocal child, they should be looking out, like in an SEN school or the hospitals, looking out for these sort of signs in a child. Just because he can vocalise, that doesn't mean he will. Like he obviously wasn't comfortable in doing so, and he still doesn't. He's a bit better at his new school, but obviously he's got a lot worse than he has to. But yeah, I still find that to this day with my elder two, not my younger one. There's no issue there. He's very transparent, but it is a big sort of thing that, and a parent's sort of voice isn't heard. But yeah, it is a big thing that I've always struggled with the hospitals, sort of just ignoring me. They think because they got a degree they know better, but obviously I now know that that's not the case. So going back to the 2024, in the January when I put the complaint in, lo and behold, we got to then go back in the February and we see the top consultant, and I never forget, she sat us down and she said, you know, we've got results today. And I was like, oh wow, that's amazing. And she told us he had 27% lung function. I was like, wow, you know, what do we do with that? You know, we need to speak to spinal, because it's we knew that obviously there's nothing they can do. It's the spine affecting the lungs. So spine need to do something. And they'd always told us he'd have spine rods in, which is very, very common for scoliosis, even though his case is very complex. Yeah. So we had to go through tests, which anyone does in the world, any surgery, but with spinal surgery, you have to go through spinal investigation day, which we had done in August. You have bloods, you have breathing tests, you have so much done. Also going back, which I was gobsmacked to in the February, when I'd seen this and she'd said he had 27%. They also then disclosed to us, and we have this on paper, that in 2021 they had results of he had 56% lung function, and in 2022 he had 44%. So there was clear as day that his lungs were in a bad way and they were declining. So had I had that on paper, they wouldn't have had nothing on me for social services. That trauma they then caused me and my family was unnecessary. Had I had that piece of paper, they couldn't have done that. And they actually made me think, for some time, that I was going crazy. I'm not going to lie. But sorry, fast forward to the August. So we went in for the spinal investigation day. Always been told he'd have spinal rods. They'd already asked for some scans of his hands. I didn't know this, but you've got growth plates in your hands, and you can see if you've got growth left, that's great. You can have rods. So we goes in to see the spinal investigation day, and when I had his X-ray that day, my chin nearly dropped to the floor because his spine was in such a state, and I was like, wow, that's got really bad. And it's like, no, it looks the same compared to then. And I was showing him like his first picture and going along. I was like, no, I'm sorry, like, don't take a radiologist to see that my son's spine is very bad. Like, I was actually crying. And there's like, okay, I said, this needs to be raised with spinal. I said, I'm not happy. Like, that's not right. That's not good. So anyway, we then see the consultant a little bit after. And he said, yeah, we want to get him in. We want to book spinal surgery, even though I've been asking for this for a while because obviously it was deteriorating in my eyes, in my opinion. And he said, right, yeah, we're going to get him spinal surgery. We can't fit rods in now. He's too old. I was like, what? I said, he's been under you since he was 4. You've always told us he'd have rods, and now you're telling me he can't. Why? Oh, he's too old now. So why did you not do it sooner? Why have you left him to get to this state?
Well, why?
Anyway.
Why?
Go
on, sorry, go on.
Well, anyway, so again, I put in a complaint, like, why has my son been left to get to this state? I've showed both. I've always, I don't know why, always taken pictures of his X-rays. And I was like, why has my son been left to get like this? He now obviously has 27% lung function. And like they've said, there's nothing they can do. It's the spine doing this. The spine need to help. I was sitting in my shed. This is literally like a week after spinal investigation. Obviously, as soon as I left that appointment that day, I put in a complaint to Paweł on the way home. It's like an hour and a half drive. While my husband's driving home, I did it then and there. Sorry. A couple of days later, I had a phone call. Right, I want to book Harley in for spinal surgery. Can you come in next week? I don't know what it was. Call it mother's intuition. I've never had a feeling like it in my life. I felt the blood draw from my face. And I went in and said to my husband, I was like, something's not right. Something's not sitting right. No, that's not right. Why do I want to rush him into surgery? I don't get it. I don't get it. I need a second opinion. Something didn't feel right to me. And I'm very glad I did, because had I gone ahead with the operation they wanted to do on my son that day, he wouldn't be here today. He'd have died on the table. Went through to the Evelina for this second opinion. We researched one of the best. You can choose, by the way, if parents didn't know this, you can choose for a second opinion where you have that for children, adults. It is your right to do so, by the way. So we did this, went to the Evelina and see Dr. Lucas. And he said, in his opinion, that it was the worst spine he'd ever seen. And that, in his opinion, in my opinion, I'm stating also, where they'd used Harley's bone and the surgery they did in the first place, the anterior spinal fusion, had worked at such a force. It had, in fact, we also spoke to respiratory second opinion at Evelina also at this time. She said it was the worst case she'd ever seen. She was crying. A consultant, Dr. Turku, who'd been doing it for 25 years, the worst respiratory, I think it's called lung disease, it comes under now, she'd ever seen in her career. His spine, where it had been fused, in my opinion, again, I've got to say that, had worked at such a force, it collapsed all of his right bronchus, which is you can't repair that. They're gone. His bronchus have literally closed down, and compromising his left side also. He has 25% lung function, and without doing spinal surgery, he there's nothing they can do to help this. So it was left to spinal that, she did more tests. And that's when we found out that obviously his oxygen levels are very dangerously low. And that Harley, they did like walking tests, for instance, and they could see the numbers dropped, and that he needed oxygen, which he now has, like getting out the bath, he's out of breath. Going to number 2, he's out of breath. He can't walk very far, he's out of breath. He's got oxygen for that. And also, unfortunately, had a sleep study and found out that he now needs a breathing machine while he sleeps, which is BiPAP. So basically, while he's asleep, he can't breathe in and out. Like the
this
oxygen,
basically.
Yes,
like
and it's very invasive. It was very hard.
I think
to
I saw
see.
that when I popped around your house and helped you out with a couple of things and that, like, just helps you sort the internet out and PlayStation out. I did see that on his bed in his room when we were sorting out the PlayStation and that.
And like when it's on, it's very hard to see your son that has gone from being fine, playing football, loved music, dancing, to be on a ventilator. You can see his chest like going. It's, you know, it's like it's very invasive, and it's very heartbreaking to see that this could have been prevented had, in my opinion, I'd been listened to it sooner. You know, this isn't part of his condition. This is where this operation was done that shouldn't have been done, in my opinion. As his mother, I pretty much know that. But so he's now on this BiPAP, which breathes in and out for him, and this is a permanent thing now. None of this is reversible. That the oxygen and the BiPAP. So, however, the Evelina again took so long to get back to me. So they took 9 months to tell me, I think it's last month, because I finally got the MP involved because, again, he was deteriorating. To tell me that last month they told me he's, in their eyes, inoperable. Now to hear that was, that's got to be, as a parent, the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. And I haven't told him that. How do you tell him that? He's always said, "Oh, Mum, you're going to make me better. They're going to fix my back." And I've always told him yes, because they've always told me yes. But I had to explain it in his terms that, you know, what they basically said to me is if they operate on Harley, this is the Evelina, that he will either likely die on the table. The main risk is not the anaesthetic to go to sleep. With spinal surgery, he would be on his front for up to 8 to 10 hours. And with spinal surgery, they actually have to paralyse you also. So his lungs won't be working, which they're in small capacity anyway. So they're actually breathing for him. And when they would try to wake him up, the main issue is going to be his lungs may not work ever again. They might just completely collapse and not inflate at all. He may come out needing a ventilator permanently, 24/7. He may need a tracheostomy. He can lose his voice. The worst one being he can lose his life. Because he's such high risk because of in my opinion, again, what Great Ormond Street did, the operation they did, fusing the bone, worked at such a force. It's now sort of unfusable even with rods. It's such a force. And obviously my questions were, well, you know, if you leave him, it's going to get worse anyway. What quality of life is that? Obviously, I don't want to put him in an operation where he's going to pass on the table. But in the same hand, like obviously if you've got a parent or just a human being, I can't watch him deteriorate any further. Like at the minute, yes, he's living the life, but not one of that a child should live. Like he can't do hardly anything, you know. So I had my days of crying, a good couple of days, and I said to myself, absolutely not. Sorry, can you swear on this channel? Absolutely not. Am I fucking letting my son die?
Say as you want. On this channel, you can say as you please.
I had the proof that I'd needed this whole time. So didn't give a fuck if social services can get involved. They ain't got shit on me. I've got on paper now what my son has got. So I, again, I'd been going on social media, starting to raise awareness for Harleys. You know, it's hard because there's not a lot of parents that have gone through this. Obviously, his condition is so rare. I have found 2 people, I might add, which is brilliant. But
it's one of those things. Sorry to just interrupt you on that bit. Right. Yeah, my screen's gone a bit funny. I'm still here. It is just one of those things like I talk to people about in life. Like there's a lot of things that we all understand, yeah. But there's other things in life that we all get it, but don't quite understand it. And this is one of these situations where I think that anyone who sort of even gets the point that I'm making will understand the point that anybody listening here and now and listens to this will not understand what you and your family have had to go through. But I think there's going to be a lot of people that get it. But it's just one of them things that you're just never going to understand it unless it's in your face, basically. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you. Please keep going.
No, you're okay. That's what you're here for, to help me. Like, And again, like exactly what you said, like you can care and want to help and want to understand, but until you've lived in that, you really can't understand. And obviously watching, I mean, honestly, the kid loves music and to dance, and to see him not being able to do that now, and like, obviously his brothers can, it's heartbreaking. It's like, that is his character, that is him. But getting back to the near the end of the story here, so I had been posting on social media, you know, for advice and what can I do, and I thought, and someone mentioned about, you know, trying Royal National Orthopaedic Hospital, and that they had actually took their daughter for a private opinion, because like no matter what hospital I was going to on the NHS, they all went for each other, you know, they're all going to say the same thing. Sorry, just backtracking a bit. They said to me that the only option was for Harley. The only option for Harley, this is what the Evelina said, was to take his case nationally if we wanted to do that, which they only do in the most extreme cases. So they will literally have a huge meeting with a lot of hospitals in the UK, one being Edinburgh, which they said to me, I can't remember the other ones, which a lot of these hospitals has more specialties than the Evelina, to see if any of them will take on Harley's case to help him. So of course I opted for that, because I will rule out any option. So that is actually taking place on what's supposed to be, I'm not holding my breath, on the 12th of August. In fact, I think they will do it, because I've had to get the MP involved now, and he has been amazing, Daniel Francis. But even he's having trouble. That just shows it's not me. Because they
Who's
was
in MP
for
for?
so long.
Like what party as such? Just a random question, I know.
Oh, I don't know that.
No? Okay, it was just a random.
I don't do politics. Yeah, I don't know. We could have a look.
It would just be interesting to see what side actually even put the effort in, because from what you said, it
he
just
has really helped. He's
fair play on the boat.
But yeah.
Anyway, keep going. What you're saying. Sorry.
So anyway, a lady on Facebook said to me that, you know, her daughter had to have scoliosis surgery, and this is like 17 years ago. And she said she was obviously not as easy back then, not that we've had it easy, but she said what she did is she paid for a private consultation, and then the doctor took her on as an NHS patient. And I was like, wow, because this hospital was renowned. Funny thing is, when it comes to picking Harley's second opinion, it was either the best doctor or the best hospital, and unfortunately we opted for the best doctor. I wish we'd gone with hospital, but it is what it is, and we didn't know that. So anyway, so we looked this up, and we paid for a private consultation with Dr. Sean Malloy he's under the Royal National Orthopaedic Hospital, but it was up London near Harley Street. I can't remember what street it is. I'm not good at names. But anyway, so we went in and paid for it, because obviously my concerns were to the Evelina that, you know, if you leave him, it's going to get worse. And there's like, oh no, you know, his growth will stop. Bearing in mind he's 14, he's nearly 15. And he's still got growth left. Well, anyway, went in there, and he said exactly what my concerns were. He said, yes, indeed, he is going to get worse. It's likely that if they leave him, that his spine will then fuse to his rib cage. And obviously he's only got 25% lung function. I mean, we all know where that's going to go. Your body can only go through so much trauma with your organs and stuff.
It can only handle so much. You're not a robot at the end of the day, basically.
I don't want to go into all them details, because obviously we're all adults and know how the body works and stuff. But actually, the one great thing he recommended to me was, he said that his colleague that he worked with years ago, his name was Lawrence Lenke. He is a renowned surgeon in the world for what he does. And I Googled this man, and, you know, where he's in America, I didn't think to call him. I just tried to email him, his secretary, and I put on Facebook, and people tag him, because I emailed him on Facebook, Insta, all that stuff. In the end, I had to sort out, because I had to go all through my phone to pay for like abroad calls and stuff like that. And I called the office, and I've actually got paperwork to fill in, which I need the hospital to help me with, because they've got to send over medical MRIs. They need to do tests on Harley. But he is renowned for this type of thing. If you read his reviews, there's several people from the UK saying that I live in England, and doctors over there told me I was inoperable. I went to see Lawrence Lenke, and he saved my life. So that's given me hope. And what Sean Malloy said is, I not only think that he can help your son, I think stopping getting worse, and sort of put a halt on the deformity and, you know, him getting worse, I think he can make him slightly better. I thought, wow. He said what he thinks he can do is a resectable column. I've got it on my phone. Column, RCV it's called. Basically, where Harley spine's like this and fused, they would take tiny little like triangles out of segments and then use rods, because it would give it a bit of like wiggle room, if that makes sense. If they take little segments out like that, it would unfuse it a little bit and put rods in.
Is that like with these pictures? Because I've got a few of them as such.
That's the old picture. That's the last MRI picture that we. That's a CT, I think. Yeah. So basically, where it is curved like that, they would take bits of the bone like that, like little triangles like that. So something that's fused like that. So you bend it slightly like that, and put rods in. Yeah. So that actually gave us a glimmer of hope, but. Again, they've hit us with like a 30 or 40 page medical document. I had my own disabilities, let alone mentally, and I really am struggling with the forms. So I contacted the MP and said, can you ask the hospital to help me? But of course, I haven't heard anything back. And then again, at the same time, someone else also recommended contacting a hospital called Shriners. They also work in America, and they are a charity. They pay for flights, accommodation, surgery. Now, I've also done their documents, but again, they also need these medical documents that I don't have the means of getting. So again, I need the hospital to help me. But do you think they get back to me? Absolutely not. So, yeah, so that is basically where we're at. But in the meantime, where they weren't getting back to me, obviously, I don't know how to put my condition online, but I've got my own disabilities. Like you said, even though we can't see them, like not all the disabilities are. My husband's also got his own, but we're full-time carer for him and my two other special needs children. We don't unfortunately have the means to pay for this sort of surgery or even own anything to our name, because everything's like disability for Harley. So I thought if I don't try, then I'm never going to know. And to be honest, I never thought it'd go anywhere. That's where the fun day started.
I'll talk about it soon.
Yeah,
it's all right. I was just pointing to someone on the link.
Oh, it's all right. That's so that's where I thought to myself, you know, I'd had my couple of days of crying, and I thought I'm turning this pain not into tears, because not only was I like really stressing myself up, Harley can tell. I don't know what it is about him. He's got he can just sense when you're stressed, when you've been crying. And like I said to my husband, I said, obviously we know more than he knows, but I said, who am I to sit there and cry? I can. Obviously, I'm his mum, but in the way I'm saying, who am I to sit there and cry about it? I don't see my son crying about it. I need to put that pain into anger and also fight mode, carry on fighting, because he's fighting, so I will carry on fighting. And I have everything I need on paper now, so no one's going to stop me. So like a crazy woman on a mission, I've contacted everyone you could think possible, all the newspapers. I've done several articles, like I spoke to several reporters. And as I said, he was the front page of the News Shopper. I think it was 2 weeks ago now. And they're also now to be doing another one on him on his fun day. He was also on another newspaper. It was MSN Online, which no one would know if you Googled it, but unless you Googled it, sorry. But I mean, I've been contacting everyone left, right, and centre, because I will do anything to save him. Anything. Just the way I've been telling myself is it just takes that one right person out there that either has the means to help us or share to that right person. Because I do believe in God, and I do believe in miracles, and that he deserves one. And I do pray every single day that he gets the miracle that he needs, because I know a lot of people say this about their kids, but he is one hell of a little boy. Like, I say little, but he's a teenager, but he's so special. He's got such an aura about him that you just don't want to leave him. Like, everyone that meets him, like, I've got to go shopping, like, oh, it's Harley. Little teachers at school and friends and stuff, and he's just in my family. He's got such an aura. Look at the smile on his face. And yeah, and I mean, as of recent as well, he's had a couple more health blows. He also, so he's always suffered with ear infections, which he gets in his mastoid bone, and it unfortunately eats away at his hearing. Is the only way I can describe it. The bones, it eats away at the sort of the cartilage and that. So he's had several colostomas. So they basically cut his ear off, drill into his skull, and clean out through this way. So he's had that done about 7 or 8 times, both sides. So he's had that done several times. However, last year, his surgeon, who is fantastic, Mr. Paweł, St Thomas's Hospital, said, I think we need to sew his eardrum off to stop the infection getting in, because he got quite chronically, and it would be like a bit of bath water, even though we do our best not to let any water or anything get his ear, gets inside here and then gets there. And unfortunately, it's not just an infection, it eats away his hearing. So there was like a skin thing put in there, skin flap, sewn off in there. Anyway, he was doing great up until, I think it's about about 6 weeks ago. He come over really funny. He sicked up like yellow bile, really lethargic, really like gaunt, couldn't lift his head up, was just laying in my bed. And where he is so vulnerable, I didn't want to take him A&E because he'd likely come out with something, obviously if it's life-threatening, I would. So I contacted his paediatrician, which is fantastic. And I took him to the doctors, which is literally over the road. And she said to me, give him these antibiotics. I don't want you to take him to hospital because I think he'll probably pick up more than he needs. So went home that night and he just got worse. And I said to my husband, I said, if it's not better in the morning, I said, we're going A&E. I went A&E, and I'm so glad I did, because he also got fast-tracked, which I must say, Queen Elizabeth have been brilliant with him. I think it's where he is so very poorly on a ventilator and stuff. And I had to go pick up my little boy. And my husband rang me, he said, we've got to go have an emergency CT done. And he actually had an infection which was built up here in his skull. So obviously where they'd sewn this up, the infection couldn't come out like it usually does. And it was just sitting up a big fluid build up here on his skull. I kind of
your ear would usually lets it out, doesn't it? I mean,
we usually treat, the only thing that ever worked as well was some drops in his ear, these certain 2 combination of drops, and obviously we couldn't get that in there. It was sewn, it is still sewn off. So so he got that, and then we finally, I think he has still got a slight infection, but he's like near on 99% better, and he's ENT are involved and whatnot. But I do think his hearing's got worse, unfortunately, but that's the least of our worries. And he does wear his hearing aids. But he actually had been off school for about 2-3 months because where he went on the oxygen, they had to get their own supply at school and you have to have all this test done, but they did take a bit too long to do it, like near on 3 months. But anyway, they rang up a couple of days before the last day of term and they was like, we're actually going bowling and we'd love Harley to come in. And unfortunately, from being back to school one day, he caught some sort of bug, even though obviously they're supposed to let us know because he's so vulnerable. And he was so poorly. Now, every time he had a bad tummy, which was about 10 times a day, he had to go on the oxygen and he was wiped. So he's had a really, really hard couple of months, not just with all this, but with his ER, with a bug. So he's really been through it. And obviously, unfortunately now, say you or I get just a normal common cold, we'd be fine. Our body's immune system would just kick it out and, we'd be fine. For him, unfortunately not. His lungs will be like greatly impacted. And they're not really strong enough. So we're trying to keep him away from germs, but I also don't want to keep him in a bubble, so it's hard. So like we're out, if someone coughs, I'm like, Harley over here.
You know what?
But
you say that, I get where you're coming from with that one. Because with that sort of thing, it's like, of course you want to keep them in the bubble sort of thing, keep them away from everything as well, but does that actually, I haven't got the best way with words on this, so do take me with a pinch of salt. By keeping him on that side, do you sort of want him a little bit in the middle of it? Because if you keep him too much away from it, it just totally destroys the immune system. This is how I'm taking it in as such. If I'm wrong, please do tell me.
But then I also get so balance. We do get him to go out, obviously, but whatever he does knackers him out, like exhausting. But like if I go food shopping, I like to take him on little scooters. He finds that fun. And obviously when we got this devastating news and he was off school, I've got a really old mobility scooter that he was using and he absolutely loved it, driving up to his brother's school and back. So my parents and my sister actually brought him a little blue scooter, Tottenham blue, brought him a blue scooter to
That
traipse
the one?
about on now. Oh yes. I really need to put some meal plates on that so people know, because he tried to run me over a few times. I literally the other day and give his dad a heart attack. But look at his face on it. He loved it, the freedom it gives him. And also what I've not mentioned is we joined a gym, I want to say about 3 months ago now. Because of my just stuff that's wrong with me and that, I've got to try and keep moving in the best way possible. My husband wanted to get a bit fitter. We've been going to this gym 2 weeks, and obviously got the bad news, he's inoperable. And I asked him there, I said, could my son join? You know, I explained he's on oxygen. I said, but like, obviously they've said we need to try and keep this lung strong. So like, I was thinking treadmill for a minute on oxygen, you know, because he is also wasting away muscle in his legs and that, where he can't get around much. And he's like, oh yeah, no problem, we'll get back to you. And the guy in there, his name's Kai. This is Thamesmead Gym, by the way, under the underpass.
I know what you mean.
Like, Harley's story touched my heart. And yeah, within straight away, without asking, of course I wouldn't ask for these things, but he, within like a week, I think it was, or 2 weeks, created a fun day with some people from the gym, and they raised like £800 for Harley, and we joined in. It was like a big, he did it like over the field, and it was like we splashed them with water, and they did a slip and slide, and yeah, as I say, I'm a true believer in everything happens for a reason. There's a reason we chose that gym, and he helped. And yeah, it's just shown what amazing people are out there. I mean, you hear so many horrible things in the world nowadays, don't you? Like stabbings and stuff. And just putting his story out there, I was also so scared, because there are cruel people, and I'm a very protective. And I don't bite my tongue when it comes to my children, especially Harley. So I was scared, but touch wood, I've not had one bad comment so far. The kindness and like amazing people have just come from everywhere. Like even your wife reaching out to me, I was like, wow. My husband was buzzing because he watches Tottenham on YouTube and stuff. But yeah, just that, for instance, just your wife taking the time to reach out. And like I said, like Harley, I think he's just an addictive person. He draws people in with, what he's been through and how he is.
Sorry again to interrupt you. It's a bad habit I do have. I mean, I was pretty pissed off, I'm going to be honest, just stuck in Blackpool, and we were stuck there. It was meant to be a holiday, and it just was not a holiday. And she came upstairs and showed it to me. And I'm not an emotional person. I struggle understanding emotions. I mean, it's a long thing to explain, and a lot of people just want to get it, sort of thing. Yeah, I more get emotions than understand them. It's a hard thing to explain. But when she showed me that, I looked at it, I read it. I was literally just about to go online and read about it. Yeah. I thought, you know what? Possibly. That's why I didn't make no promises, whatever, when I called you. Because I called you that night, I think I spoke to you. It was that night I spoke to you, wasn't it? After you spoke to my wife. And yeah. I thought, you know what? YouTube can help here. I've seen some good people on here do some really good stuff and make things happen for people. Whether it's this much, that much, whatever. But no, that one, it definitely got me there. And not much ever does that. So that was where I said to my wife to contact you again. And I said, I think I can possibly get something rolling on here. Because I know there's some good people on here. Don't get me wrong, there's some right. It's the same as it is everywhere. It's more of the Spurs community. It's one of the most divided you will ever meet in your life, as far as I'm concerned. But when it comes to a situation like this is one thing I can back the Tottenham community on. It won't be divided. People will work together. People will work for this. It's something that is worth being together for as such and working together. Like I say, I haven't got the best way with words. And I just thought maybe I could, even if it's only a little bit, just give you a little bit of help here. But with what we're going through here, and obviously I'll leave you to explain more in a minute and that, I think you're going to get a lot of support here, personal opinion, and you will get a lot of help here. Because no matter how divided and how terrible at football we are at times and everything else, you will get support here. I can promise you that. So, I mean, I've starred up a few things people have said. I will bring them up. But again, sorry to interrupt you. It's just when I saw that, I just thought, well, maybe I can actually help something here, as I do know people with much bigger shows and whatever, and much bigger able to get the words around and that. And I knew 100%, I knew there'd definitely be one person out there who wouldn't be able to get on here quick enough and help. I'll bring him up in a second. We do have a good debate. We do have a good argument.
Get any story out there that in itself is helpful. You know, anything anyone can do is much appreciated. Like I said, the fact that you both took the time out of, you know, your holiday, even if it was a crap holiday, to contact us. And again, as you say, like, it's, you know, I think things happen for a reason. And obviously, when we touched on Harley and bloody Tottenham Hotspurs, he's obsessed. We've been to see him a few times now. He loves them. His new bedroom that's being built, like the construction out there, always like, Mummy, you've got to design me a Tottenham room. It's like, yes, babe. Yes, babe. So, yeah, and obviously he's obsessed. Everything's Tottenham. So that's obviously what drew you in. He's a little Spurs fan. But, yeah, so...
It wasn't just that, but that was the main thing that made me look as such. Seeing him in the Spurs shirt was the thing that definitely turned my eye to look and then actually read about the situation as such and just getting a bit of knowledge off it as such. But go on, carry on with what you're saying. Sorry to interrupt again.
Oh, yeah, all right. It's just his love for it. It all started, I think, with Harry Kane. Obviously, he's left. I'm not into loads of football. I like watching like England and the Tottenham, but his love for it is still the only thing he enjoys. Like, he doesn't like watching telly. He plays his PlayStation, but he just loves Tottenham. Absolutely obsessed. His room, as I say, he's got some Tottenham bits.
You've got a lovely yard there, and his room's really good.
Oh, thank you. That's not actually his room. So he was in the box room because when he used to get overstimulated, basically, is the only way I can explain it.
Your husband said. Yeah.
Yeah, so he was in the box room is actually Harley's, and we just did it all up for him. But unfortunately, where we declined so rapidly, he now needs a hospital bed because his back basically so disproportioned, he just couldn't get comfy.
Yeah.
However, the hospital bed didn't fit in there, and obviously he's having his extension built. So for now, we've swapped our two boys over. And he's in there, but as I say, his room is being built, and I can't wait to just make it. Literally, I'll be posting like Tottenham. I love stuff like that, like designing and stuff like that. So I can't wait to make like his dream.
Do you know what the joke of this is? I mean, and I can bring on the joke side to this, is the fact that where I spoke to your husband and saw the place, I was like, fuck, you got a nice yard there. No two ways about it. Well designed. You can definitely see it's got the woman's touch to it as such. And I don't mean in flowers and that, yeah. I mean, when it comes to DIY, I am absolutely useless. That's my wife's job. She knows her part, I know mine, yeah. My part is I deal with the money, I deal with the electrics. She'll design the rooms, she'll make the bloody rooms. That ain't my job. And like I was talking to your husband about it, and your husband turned around and said, see, Kelly, I ain't the only one like that sort of thing. That's the same sort of job in your place, isn't it?
Don't give him oh yeah, he's just got no. Yeah, with his autism, I like to say he's a very intelligent man, but he's got no common sense. Bless him. Him and my boy are both the same, but you can't have it all, can you? So we're fine together. We work as a team, but we have been here like over 10 years now, and obviously it's just become a really nice home. I like to, for my children to come home in and just, make it home for them. Because we don't get to go out much. Unfortunately, it's just a lot with, especially with his wheelchair and that now. But our other two clash a lot as well, and it's just headache. So we like to keep them in their routine. We do go out, just not a lot. But yeah, so I'm really looking forward to this fun day. And every single person that's reached out just for me, I was so scared to put him online because of cruel trolls and stuff like that. And I thought to myself, do you know what? I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm feisty. Like, I will not take anything from anyone. And like, I have actually come a long way, because I used to be very sort of short-tempered and stuff. But since I had a gastric bypass and stuff, and like obviously this stuff with Harley, like I just see the whole world in a new light, and like I would just laugh. Like, someone bumped into me yesterday, and before I'd go, oh, you know what? I just like, whatever. Do you know, like, I've got bigger fish to fry. Don't
you
get
know
me
what?
wrong.
You say that just sounds exactly like me 7-8 years ago, sort of thing. I'd already met Beth. I've been with her 11 years, yeah. And I don't know. One thing I will admit, I always had a bit of a problem with the world as such in that aspect.
Yeah,
I was a very
like
fiery person. Yeah, very fiery person. I couldn't help it. And there was that side of me. Did I even want to help it? No, because I didn't really care, if I'm going to be honest. I do have that attitude. And anyone who would, it was never that you go out looking for a fight as such, but you was always
like
waiting for it. Yeah. It's not
that
I was ever looking for it, but I'm just trying to come across and understand how you feel as such, or what you said. And it's never that I really went out looking for it, but I was always waiting for it, you know? And and you do think about it, like, that's just as bad as each other, really, isn't it? When you think about it, it's the same thing, isn't it? Whether you're looking for it or waiting for it, it's basically as bad as each other. And it wasn't until that I've been with my wife quite a while, and she calmed me down, taught me a few things, why people get bothered about certain things and that, which again, I still genuinely in a few things just don't get it, sort of thing. But each their own, everyone's got their own things and that. And yeah, it's now just down to the part. The mad thing is where I just really haven't, in general, where really in general, I just haven't got time and patience for people as such. It's actually made me better. And one thing that also definitely helped, apart, I mean, I know that sounds totally back to front, I'll explain it. And another thing that definitely helped me doing is I always struggled getting work and stuff like that. I mean, with what I've got, it's a total minor compared to any issue you got in that. But I got epilepsy. And as all I ever got was turned down literally for everything. As all I ever got told was, you're a danger to yourself and society, not allowed on a building site, not allowed to do this, whatever. And yeah, and I admit that did give me a bit of a fuck it attitude to the world and everything. The thing that actually helped me a lot, apart from my wife, was when I actually did get some work in there, was doing the door work. Having to do that up in Brixton and Ali Pali and that. You end up sort of having to learn, you know what, sometimes you just stand there and laugh. Sometimes you just stand there and smile, because if you end up fighting every, how do I put it, everything that you have an issue with as such, doing that what I was doing, doing that what I was doing, God, I'd have been in a fight every 2 seconds on there, especially up in Brixton. I mean, fucking hell, and other places up in London and that. And I sort of got to that point where I was able to stand there on the door with another fella next to me, and you got the pissed up people in front, you got the geared up people just going on and on and on. You end up just sitting there like that, and you sort of switch off to it, and you're like, why was I even angry or bothered about anything as such? Why did any of this actually bother me before? And that was one thing that helped me a lot, to lose a bit of the fiery side as well. And my wife is definitely the main reason to it, but I'm just giving you a little bit of side of mine as such, which is definitely obviously nothing to yours. But I'm just sort of understanding the part of what you were saying you were like as a person at one stage, yeah? Because in that part, I feel I can relate to you a bit, because I do know what it's like to actually have that attitude and live that sort of attitude myself. And yeah, it was doing the door. Yeah,
you've got that, haven't you? So you know what I mean. You've got a bit of everything. So it's like, I do though, and it's playing yourself, isn't it? And
and it was doing that, which really actually helped me have the attitude of where I can't even be bothered with people in general anymore. It's actually made me better in the aspect of someone can barge past me now. Okay, I might give him a dirty look, but I'm more like, I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
And in some ways that sounds worse, like you can't be bothered with people in general anymore. But actually having that more of an arrogant, if you want to call it that, I don't know what phrase to use, but can't be bothered with you sort of attitude, it's actually helped me in life a lot. Along with my wife teaching me a lot of things, it has made me a more laid-back person. I go back 7 or 8 years, I was a nightmare, and I know it, and that is an understatement. literally just wanted to fight the world and everything, or
like
always
even-
waiting for it. I mean, even if someone wanted to help me in a
Even
way,
with
I
my
mean, I
husband, I was
always,
like,
yeah. And
Yeah.
the door work really helped me on that, because if you just did not switch off in that, you was just going to have a fight every 10 seconds sort of thing. But it was my wife who definitely helped me change into a different person, who just, in a lot of ways, I don't really give a fuck what people think and what people care and what. Get on with it. And because I've more got that attitude now, it has actually helped me to be a better person in the aspect of, you know what, the one I still can't handle is if someone's 6 foot in front of you, sees that you're behind them and shuts the door in your face. That one I will still go off my head about a bit. Yeah, that's the one that gets me. But apart from that, yeah, you know what I mean? Or when you're walking down the train station or whatever, and you've always got that prick with a briefcase who cuts in front of you and that, and nearly takes you over. So I'm the sort of one who'll walk up behind him and then kick him in his Achilles as hard as I can. Oh, sorry, fella. You know what I mean? I'm a bit of a prick like that. And
oh, yeah, I don't like it. If people do that. If you'd be surprised, they do it with Harley, and I'm like, if you walk in front of me, I'm just going to run you over. Like my
right.
boy ain't going to. Oh, you'd be surprised which people. Oh, some people are just so ignorant like that. But yeah, like obviously sounds a lot like me. Like your wife saved you, and although my husband had saved me from what my life would have been, I didn't quite realise or appreciate it until. Well, I think Harley saved me, but also I wouldn't have Harley without his dad. But like, yeah, it's amazing what finding your person can do and change your life. Like, credit to your wife, obviously, she's done amazing with you and found your right
she had a
person,
bloody
just as
hard
I
job.
did. And yeah,
The
so
mad
my
thing
husband,
is-
the poor thing. But then I think he's hard work now. So
No, the mad thing is,
I say to all the time, oh my God, you're such a.
the mad thing is with me and Beth is when we got together, I must admit, she was one of the most. Let's just say she was frail, delicate, and over the years, it's rubbed off on each other where she's made me that bit softer. I've made her that bit harder, to the point now where it's a fucking nightmare to have an argument with her. Whereas when we first got together, she'd actually just shut up on the argument, and now it's more me who shuts up on the argument and just says get the fuck on with it. And
Oh my God, I'm
she'll
exactly
sort
the
of,
same. Yeah,
you know,
yes,
it's
that's
sort
the
of we
last word.
crossed over
Like,
onto each other.
Yeah,
Whereas
I
it
say this to
used to
him
be
all the
her
time.
that
I'm
shut
like,
up, but where she taught me
Yeah.
to slow down, I taught her to fire up, and now I sit there and just think, for fuck's sake, like,
vice versa. I like you're each other.
yeah, it had the vice versa effect on each other in that aspect. I mean, they do say opposites attract, and it's a strange one,
Yeah,
but they
no,
say
definitely.
it does. I mean, would you agree
I
with
truly
that?
believe that. Yeah, definitely, because and I've mentioned it before, but I only got diagnosed literally in March this year with ADHD, which was like just like a ping moment go on, like, oh, okay, I'm my normal. And my husband got diagnosed last year with autism. So had we known that when we first met, I mean, it might have been like, oh, should we really be together? But it is true, like, but it's and you literally, and it's funny, like in a situation, like one of us are better than the other, like in an emergency situation, like one of the kids fell over and like, needs to go A&E, he's calmer than me, he handles that better. Whereas like something like an everyday situation, like cooking dinner, doing something that or a DIY task, I'm calmer than him, you know. And it's funny how you can see that in two different lights and which one works better in different scenarios. And I always say, oh, it's autism versus ADHD here. Quite funny, but
You know,
I see the comical side of it. Yeah.
Again, I don't just get it. I actually understand what you're saying on this bit, yeah? Because, do you know what? That's just that is exactly the same as me and Beth. I mean, I got labelled with a couple of other things this year and that, and you know, to me it was just all bollocks anyway. Not that I really cared, if I'm going to be totally honest on that one. But I mean, I do feel they do throw labels about a bit too easy these days. I mean, I'll wait there, I'll take some tablets now, fuck off, basically. I do feel it is a bit too much like that. But when it comes to a crunch situation, and there has been a few times, and this was again at one time where I was working, the part I'm good at is just being totally cold on the situation, not caring what's going on around me apart from the moment. And the way Beth described it is just cool, calm and calculated. No rushing. Don't go into a like panic on it or nothing about it like that. And I mean, I'm not going to go into any stories, whatever, and that, yeah, because some of them are a bit. And I'm more the one that I just sit back, assess the situation, and right, you do that, you do that, you do that. Best one in that situation who sort of freezes just for that moment. But as long as you like, right, come on. Now she's the brilliant one at listening and getting it done on what I say, right, do this, do that. And then there's other situations where she's just so much better at taking control of the situation than me. Because there's other situations where I start getting, how should I put it? I'm not the most patient person out there. There's other situations out there as such that happen, and my patience does me no favors, whereas her patience helps it a lot more. But it seems to be in the in the more colder situations where I can just sort of switch off to everything and just, right, this is what we need to do. That needs to get done. Go and do it as such.
Yeah.
And that's just where we work total opposite on things.
Yeah, but you're
we know our places.
Yeah, complement each other, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
We know our places on it. So just, I know we diverted a little bit, but I just wanted to try and understand you as a person a bit better. And I think I do, because I think there's definitely some similarities to there. It's almost got a little comical side to it in its own little way. So I just want to go through a couple of things again. So a couple of people who watch this later will get this, because we haven't had many follow it and that. It's not about football, but I can bet you afterwards a lot of people will come back and watch things. So just to go back through a couple of things, not obviously everything you said in that, yeah, but just to get to a couple of points again, yeah. I'm going to make a statement here, yeah, and this is me saying this. So this is no beef for yours and no beef for everything else. Social services are the biggest waste of space pricks out there. You don't have to agree with me, whatever. I know you purely gave an opinion. I am giving what I think is a fact. And I will say that. They are fucking useless when it comes down to the crunch. They only ever seem to want to get involved when they need to prove a point. And yet when and I've seen this happen with a lot of people, my own daughter as well, when they're really needed, they are fucking useless.
Yep.
They are absolute pricks. And yeah, I do swear a lot when it comes to stuff like that. So I do apologize. And they are a waste of total fucking space. So when you mentioned them, I know your one is purely your opinion and you're entitled to that. My one, I'm saying it's a fact. Anyone can tell me that's my bollocks, mate. I've had to deal with them bunch of idiots as well. They are useless. And as all they ever want to do is get their little point scale up so they get their little bloody money at the end of the day. But with that one, I can totally get you when it comes to social, but that's just my little rant out there, yeah? I mean, so when you talk about operations and that, yeah, he's obviously had a bloody lot of them. I mean, how many has he actually had to go through?
I was asked this the other day and I don't know. I couldn't count. So I think he's had about 6 or 7 cholestestomas on each ear. I want to say 15 or 20, but that's not. He has a lot of sedation. He's not going to have many more. A lot of sedations, like for MRIs and stuff. He has to be put asleep because they're so invasive. Are about 15 so far. I think he had 3 last year because that picture you were showing, he had to have an emergency growth plates put in his knees because his knees started growing like that. So we had to have growth plates in to stump the back plates to straighten them out. And then he had to have them out again. So that was 2 operations. So yeah, I want to say about 15 actual operations that are more sort of sedation than anything.
I mean, when it comes to the operations, I mean, surely being a parent, I mean, this one I won't even come close to understanding, yeah. But I can just at least try and get it. I mean, surely every time the operations come to it, I mean, how do I put it? I mean, say looking forward to it is, of course not. But is there 2 sides to it? Obviously, there's that side where as a parent, you're going to be in defense mode. But do you also have that positive side to it of like what can go right about it as such? Like I say, I haven't got the best way with words for this. There'd be other people better to describe it.
No, I'm a big worrier. Like I'm always worrying what can go wrong. And obviously, especially now knowing what he's got going on, especially, I forgot to mention, he's actually now with his spine, he's got a deviated esophagus. So he's choked a few times and he's hard. They never told me this at the Evelina, but I've got, I've had his notes since, which say, because he's had so many tests done respiratory wise, that the last couple of times they put him to sleep, he was hard to ventilate, but they never told us that, of course. And he was hard to wake up from ventilation, which makes sense because I've actually got videos of him last time he woke up and we was actually in the ICU with him. And I was like, he's never like this. Like, and I was like, his breathing's harder. Like, I've got videos of it. But it makes sense now. So now, unless he has to have a surgery, he's not having it. It's not worth it. To say he was supposed to have hearing aids. I've not said this. He was supposed to have the hearing aids inserted into his skull, which I would like him to have because he has actually got like a band across, which would just get banned. But other than that, unless it's his spine and I've got a good outcome of it, it's too high risk, and he's going to have to be monitored more. And there's so much sort of at risk here, which is him. He's too precious.
It's putting it together basically of, is it worth it or not, is what I'm saying. Do you go through that one? Like, is this operation actually going to be actually worth having or taking the risk as such?
Yeah, because obviously that will fall on us. Obviously we make that decision for him. He never wants to have an operation, of course, but he does want his back fixed. But again, I've had to explain to him, obviously, the way we've had to explain that to him is obviously Harley's here. Harley's not in a great place. His breathing's annoying. That's what he says about it. We got to make sure having an operation is going to make Harley a bit better, if not worse. Because if it's going to make you worse down here, we don't want that, do we? And obviously I've said we don't want to lose you, do we? Which is hard because he's fully cognitive, but there's some terminologies he just doesn't understand because he's never really been taught at school either. Unfortunately, so which isn't part of his thing either, but that's another kettle of fish. I can't answer that one today, but it's hard to explain to him when he keeps asking for it. He's literally asked, "Mummy, I want to be fixed." He knows his body's tired. He knows his body's bad. He knows, and it's happened very rapidly, like the oxygen, the ventilation, even though he smashed it. He has smashed it. He just takes it like a trooper every night with that ventilator. As I say, literally, I've put it on. It takes your breath away, but for him, it's giving his lungs a rest while he's sleeping because they're not working properly and they're working overdrive. So it's a lot, but he stayed strong for it. So I will continue to fight and battle his
look, seriously,
I'm going to be.
Again, it's another one of those situations. Like I said earlier, you can try and get it all you want, but you'll never understand it unless you go through certain things. And I think, I can't really say much apart from the only phrase I could get: fair play to you and your family. There's probably a lot of people out there that no matter how much they wanted to fight for it, they just wouldn't be able to. And that's no disrespect to nobody. Some people are just stronger than others.
No,
and that's all
like I
there
said to my husband, a lot. And
but
a
for
lot
your
of
kids,
SEN
you do what you got to do, don't
single
you?
parents, unfortunately, it does put strain on your relationship. So I said to my husband, like, we are a team. Like you said about your wife, we complement each other. We get through it together. There's things he does that overstimulate me and vice versa that I can't do, and it's just too much for me. And it's hard. I'm not going to lie. Like, especially with the other two, with their issues as well.
You're only human. You're only human. You're not a bloody robot, same as the rest of us.
No. So, but again, like without him, I couldn't do it.
That's where you need the teamwork, isn't it? That's where you need to work as a team.
We do, and it's where it truly shows through that. So, we are definitely at the A team.
I mean, the other couple of things, I'm just going to come to a couple more things and then I'll end this as it is basically in that. I mean, with the, cholesterol ops or whatever, if I remember right, I mean, that's for the year, isn't it? Yeah, my wife's had a couple of them as well, if I remember right. And I remember when she had that done, it was quite funny when she was on the table and that, 'cause she was still out of it for about another 3 hours after the operation, sort of thing. I mean, the way she was, it was like we'd been down the pub for the bloody night. But she's had a couple of them ones, so I know a little bit about them. And other thing we'll get to. I mean, a couple of people have said a couple of things near, and just to go through a couple of things, and then there's one big point I want to come up to. I mean, Rob Belcher, top fella, always on here. He's one who kept me doing this basically, and he's just asked a simple question like, who is Harley's favourite player?
Mickey Van der Ven.
Fair enough.
Mickey Van der Ven, Madison, one of the two, but obviously it's just at his ACL, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's just busted himself for the next season,
Oh.
but I don't know the full facts on it, and I don't
Gutted.
think. I mean, this fella here, Sava, I knew he's the first one who come running out for it because he loves doing stuff like this. One thing we'll give the fella, fair play to him. I don't know many that can sit there and do a 24-hour straight stream. He was the one I actually mentioned to you when we was on the phone together that I think my mate will jump out to this. And whereas a 24-hour stream, I can't pull that shit off. I can't do it. I
can do
medical wise and mental wise, I haven't got it. But I've seen him do it about 3 times, yeah. And I had a chat with him about him, like, can you give me a couple of ideas, please? I didn't have to ask him to get involved as such. He straight away said he wanted part of this. Like when I explained a little bit of the situation to him and that. And like he's just said here, I mean, we spoke about it very briefly, that we're both do 12. What we're going to do is we're obviously going to have a chat about it, get it about a bit more viral and everything. And there will be a lot of bigger channels that will put this about a lot more now that it's been spoke about on here. Yeah, as I say, we haven't had much watch today, but trust me, this will come back to a lot of people. And like he's just said, Dan, we will both do a 12-hour charity stream and raise a ton of money for this. Now, the things he has done for, let's say, well, smaller situations. I mean, because this situation is just, I can't even go into detail of the level as such. But for smaller situations, you would be I think you'd be very surprised on how generous a lot of this Spurs fan base can actually be. And I think 2 12-hour charity streams will work brilliant. One on my channel, and then a week or 2 later, one on his channel. Instead of doing 24 hours straight, which is enough to put anyone in bed for a few days, yeah. I think the most I've lasted on one with him is about 13 hours, and I nearly passed out. And he does the full 24 hours. And this is where a lot of other people jump on and talk about football. Then you sort of lose the football, and then you talk about anything, or you'll have your row with your other fella on there. And I mean, it's football. It's like a bunch of blokes down the pub. It's quite comical in its own way, yeah. I mean, me and him, we've fallen out many a time. We got on many a time and have a good debate. Same as I have with many others on here. I mean, I can go through a list of names on here. You got some good people on here who will help as much as they can. And I think the way we're going to do it is just random. We speak about it is probably do 2 separate shows on a Saturday or something like that, from say 10 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night, or 12 o'clock till 12 o'clock, whatever we come across on doing, and then doing back to back on the week as such, or like one Saturday, the next Saturday, or leave it a week and do it the following Saturday. But we'll definitely get at least 2 12-hour streams out of this. And with something Chris is saying here, he's a fellow we talked to on here as well, saying, Dan, I can probably put Kelly in touch with Mickey Hazard if she hasn't been so far. He does amazing things with kids as well. So if that's yes, he's an old Spurs player.
Okay, yeah.
And okay, so that's one thing I'll speak to Chris about, and I'm sure a couple of others will as well who've watched this, who know Chris. I mean, Savin knows Chris better than me anyway. And I think that's something, if the option's there, you'd be more than willing to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said to you, even like if this just gets his story out there, you know, a couple of people follow his story, everything helps. Like I said to you, it just takes that one person that might reach the right spinal surgery, or person that can help Harley get the operation. You know, it all helps, like as little as or as big as it is. Like just reaching out to me means a lot. And, you know, just the suggestions, it's anything. We will try absolutely anything to help him. And even if he just finds a few friends on there that say hello to him, you know what I mean? It's just anything anyone can do, it, you know, is appreciated.
And like, just for answer a question, if Super Spurs TV, sorry, no pinned link, etc. No, not at the moment. I mean, Kelly does have a link and whatever, but what we're going to do with that one is just put it on the shows that we do, basically, and that. And the thing we're definitely going to really fight hard for is, I mean, you will get a lot through that, but then a lot of people do also give super chats and stuff like that. The only problem is when it comes to super chats and that, YouTube do take their, I don't know whether it's 25 or 30% out of it as well. So say, for instance, someone donated a tenner to you on a super chat, YouTube will have their £3 out of it. I don't know the exact percentage, but I think it's something along those lines. So what we will definitely fight for is for people to just send it directly to the link that you give me and you give Sava and that as well, and it will go through there. And obviously, Sava, with dates and that, obviously we'll have to talk about that in the very near future. And I mean, out of question and that, yeah. I mean, I know what you've already said and that, but is there any sort of dates that you need this by that would be most helpful as such? I mean, I know you've already turned around and said you don't really care anything helps as such, but out of question, is there certain dates that you are really trying hard for as such to get a certain amount? And if there is, like Sava's just asked, is there actually a target, or is it just as much as possible? Is there a set target you need to get to?
Well, obviously, as soon as possible, to get him the help as soon as possible. The longer we leave it, the worse he gets, the less chance we've got of getting him the help. I'm not good with maths. I'm not good with numbers. So obviously he needs this surgery in America regardless. No one over here is going to touch him. And my husband was looking the other day, and surgery is around £120,000 over there. That's just the surgery. Obviously, we need to go over there, live over there. I really don't know. There was a charity involved that was looking into other families that have done similar things and obviously had to leave the country. And bearing in mind we're a family of 5, but I don't know. I really don't know. I do need to search into it properly. But obviously, like I said, this was an idea, and I didn't realise I'd have so much help and people wanting to help. So I can get my husband to look into it better. I could even contact the spinal surgeon and ask, if he was to have an operation, how much we're looking at. But again, I've never left this country in my life, so I wouldn't know how much a plane ticket costs, an apartment. I don't know.
Let's just say nothing's cheap. I think we all know that.
Even if just my husband had to go, it would come down to that. I'd do anything for him. But I really don't know but the GoFundMe, the Hope for Harley, is set at 100k, but obviously they do it in small goals because that's the least we need. But it would be a miracle. But I'm here for a miracle. I'm praying for a miracle. So I do believe it can happen, and we'll try. All I can do is try. That's all we can do. But again, just trying to do it as soon as possible to get him the help as soon as possible, because again, it's his birthday. He's going to grow more. He's going to deform more. So it is what it is. I can't. Yeah, it's a difficult question that
I get that.
I do need to look into better, to be honest.
I mean, go on, finish what you're saying. Sorry.
But yeah, no, I can get him to have a look tomorrow properly, and I can call the doctors and ask, is there a rough sum, even if they give me like a rough guesstimate, and he looks at how much a bloody thing is over there. But the best possible outcome could be that Shriners take Harley on, but again, they don't pay for where you live and that, and say I've never been on an airplane or anything like that in my life, nor have my children. But again, I do need to, because obviously people want to know how much something is, what they're donating to. But I do need to look into this. It's probably something I can get him to look into tomorrow. But yeah, as soon as possible. But bearing in mind, obviously, his fun day's this weekend, and I couldn't possibly take on anything else. But then again, I don't need to be for it. So, but
no, in that aspect, like you don't even. How do I put this? I mean, if when we do a show, you want to put your face on and say hello, you're more than welcome. So's your son, so's your husband, or whatever. But in this aspect, I'll speak for myself here, but I think I can vouch for a few others. This is one you can sort of push to the side and don't worry about it. It will get done. Okay. I mean, obviously, we'll have contact and that, and I'll also give you a number of someone else who will get this shit done. And sorry about the phrase. In this aspect, you can put this one to the side. Don't worry about this one. You got a lot more important things to focus on, like the fun day coming on. We we'll get things done in our way and keep you informed of how we're going to do it, basically. And there's obviously people with a lot more experience than me at doing this, so I'm going to more rely on them to sort of arrange a sort of way we do it and that, and then sort of plan it with them and everything else and that. And that's just going with people who've got more experience than myself. So on this one, you got nothing to worry about on this side. I can give you 100% fact it is going to happen.
Okay.
You said you need it as soon as possible, so I'm pretty sure we can get things rolling within the next couple of weeks as such, because obviously we want to make this as viral as possible as well, because the more viral you make it, obviously the more people are interested, the better. But like you said, the sooner the better. And I think basically the point you're making is every penny counts.
Yeah, definitely. And as I say, it's I did keep updating on Facebook and stuff, and people can follow on Facebook. I'm always putting updates on there for Harley, and obviously I'm trying to get people to follow along to, obviously, like I said, it just takes that one person with the right reach to the right person to, you know, spread awareness and through the condition as well. It just, the fact that it's so rare, I'd hate for another parent to go through this, or even just other SEN mums. It would be lovely to find a community out there that, you know, I can relate to, but more so just getting him the help. And if anyone's local to Bexley, feel free to come along and wear your Tottenham top and make the boys' day. Even if you just come along, say hi. You only have to pay to go on the inflatables. So if you're an adult, obviously you're not going to go on them, or you can if you're a big kid. But
God, you know what? These days I'd probably hurt myself on one of them if I'm going to be honest.
Oh, me too. I've been doing my bloody back in just getting on one. I'm too old for this stuff.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, if anyone's or got kids and can make it, I mean, it is a cheap day out. It's £10 for the whole day on the wristband. So, yeah, if you can come along to show your support that way, then please do. And again, Dan, thank you and your wife and everyone that's going to help this, you know, come to light. I really appreciate it.
No, in the other aspects, I can turn around and say thank you for coming on here. I mean, a lot of people don't really realise sometimes it's really not that easy to show your face on something like this, even though it's just like me talking to you. But some people do actually struggle doing that. I mean, as I said, Kelly, you're a brave lady, you're a great mother, you've got an excellent family there, you've got a bloody nice place. And it was nice coming up and being able to meet you today as well, and being able to shake Harley's hand and everything and say hello to him. And yeah, I've got my own little buzz out being able to sort your PlayStations out for you. You know, I mean, PlayStation's part of a young man's.
Well, you saved me there. I was buying free games. Well, I said you saved me some money there in itself, having to buy free bloody games for free PlayStations.
As soon as I heard that, I was like, what are you doing? You don't have to do that.
But yeah, thanks for that. Just get one game for Christmas.
Yeah, and they can bloody share it. Just don't get it on a disc, get it on digital. Yeah. I mean, discs these days are just irrelevant anyway, but that's a whole different story as such.
So you've helped me save money already.
On the next few shows I do, and I'm sure there'll be a couple of others who do it, who will, how do I put it across? Basically put the picture up that I've got on here of the fun day and whatever and that for people nearby, whatever else and that. That's not a problem. And one thing I can definitely promise you here, though, is you will get support here. You will get some help here. And like I said, this Spurs fan base is, in my opinion, one of the most screwed up on the planet on how divided it is in so many different ways. I mean, it's almost comical at times. But on the positive side, when it comes to a situation like this, it is a very complete fan base. And that is one thing I can vouch for there. You will get people willing to help on here. And targets, whatever. In that aspect, I suppose it's just go with the flow as such and everything in that. But I can promise you, you will get help and support on here. Help and support that your son deserves, that you deserve as a family. So I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks for people watching and that. And Kelly, got anything, last thing you want to say?
No, just thank you to yourself, your wife, and again, for everyone that can help and even just share Harley's story. Thank you.
Okay then. And if you hang on after, I'll speak to you after the show. I'm just going to do the exit on here, and the way I'm going to do this way, just slightly different. And thanks for everyone for watching, and obviously we will speak again soon.